Hi guys, I hope everyone is doing well today. So my last video got a pretty big response, well over 100 messages, comments, as well as several emails and a lot of Facebook messengers. And I think this topic kind of hit a nerve with people that live here in the Philippines or have visited the Philippines and has experienced issues with the grid, the power company. So a lot of stories have come my way. If you go to the comments, you'll read them. And really that's what the video was about, was the fact that if you live here in the Philippines, you have to deal with having issues with infrastructure, and we're talking specifically the electric grid. So common sense tells you having solar is definitely the way to go. And I also talked about the different types of solar that you could have installed. So it's just all about research and about what you want to do. So I want to have a little more in-depth conversation with it because we have noticed now that we did the video and we're talking about the low voltage and all the comments that we've got. We went down downtown Darwin, we went to Dumaguete, we did a few errands. And one of the errands that we needed to do was to get more bottled water. We don't drink the water here. We actually have one of the dispensers, hot and cold dispensers. And we get the 5 gallons of water. And I have 10 bottles, and usually when I get around 4 or 5 bottles empty, I go refill them. So we used the same place for years, and we stopped by there to get water, and the guy that we've seen for years comes out and said, "Sorry, sir, I can't give you any water. Our machines are not working." And I'm like, "Well, what's wrong with the machines?" He says, "There's low voltage." So not just in our area, it seems to be widespread. So I did a little more research and I want to get into that with you now. All right, so like I said in the previous clip, this issue is more widespread. Now, I kind of want to break it down a little bit. I want to break it down overall low voltage in the Philippines and how often it happens. And this is just information that I've gotten from all the comments and emails and Facebook messengers. And then specifically about our issue, our new issue here in our area in Darwin. So my understanding is low voltage is something that's rampant throughout the Philippines. And I didn't know how bad it actually was. Again, I've only been here 3 years, but so many of you had told stories. People that I don't know that just send in information, and then actually a friend of ours that live in the area told stories. So I'll just throw a couple stories at you. One of our friends' girlfriend, now wife, parents live not far from here, but definitely out more in the rural area. And they never had a refrigerator before. So this expat foreigner, friend of ours, decided to buy a refrigerator for the family and spent a lot of money on it, took it up to that house. And within several months, electronics was fried in that refrigerator, the compressor and anything digital no longer work because of low voltage. So that's a big issue. We were just downtown, and I'll get into some specifics what we did with the electric company here. We reached out to them. But while I was there, I had 2 people come up to me because I guess they're heading over to the substation to find out what's going on. One was saying that his pool pump wouldn't work, same issue that we have. And another gentleman rents, and his water pump to his house will not engage, will not work because of low voltage. He said it always worked before, and just recently it stopped working. So as you can see, this low voltage issue is nothing to take lightly. It ruins a lot of electronics. It can ruin your air conditioning. It can ruin your refrigerator or your freezer. If it doesn't have the cutoff device like my pool pump did, TVs, for example. And I know a lot of the devices that can run in a range, 220 is kind of the midpoint. The sweet spot is 220. And I know you can run a lot of devices a little bit lower and a little bit higher. There is tolerances, but we've seen here in our area in the 190s, and then you saw also where someone in this area was in the 160s, just no good. So a friend of mine, Kelly, who's been on this channel a few times, was one of the gentlemen that called, and he was explaining that the reason why this is a new issue in this area is because our substation is not too far from here. I'm going to guess at about 5 miles from our house. That's just a rough estimate. So he said that they are bringing online a new substation, and they are moving lines around, and he suspects that our feed has moved to another substation and more than likely put more distance from this house to the substation until they bring that new substation online. He called it a gigawatt, a 10 gigawatt substation. And also I want to mention to you guys, I'm not an expert here, and I'm not an electrician. I sit and, investigate and read YouTube University and Google things and try to figure out, what's going on with our house here, because obviously I'm concerned about our electronics, our pool pump, our air conditioners, and the fact that I stumbled across this issue and did everything I can to not allow it to be an issue. But, some of you send these real long comments with all the specific information, right down to the fact that I don't know what I'm talking about. The answer is you're correct. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I have common sense, and I'm able to figure out, and I surround myself with, smart people to get things figured out. So for me to switch the breaker like I did and take our voltage that was running in the low 200s, as low as 196. Remember the previous video, I showed that we were running like 195, 196 for volts. And then sometimes it's running 208, 209, all of which is low voltage. And I figured out by isolating that, basically shutting off the breaker from Noriko to our solar, we are now running properly at 230 to 231. And now my pool pump works. You can tell the difference in the fan, for example. If I flip that breaker back to be on the grid, you can see the lights dim, and you can also see or hear our fan slow down, and it's significant. So obviously it's not doing any favors to those electronics. So the fact that I did what I did to figure out, isolated it by shutting off the breaker, I feel as a homeowner, Wilma's home, that our electronics is safe. But to go into a lot of detail and talk about ohms and amps and all that, one person even said that my solar system is no good. It was installed improperly. I don't know how you know that from just watching a couple videos, but it is what it is. But yeah, when some of you experts, air quotes, say that I don't know what I'm talking about, you are correct. I just a layman and trying to do the right thing to save our electronics. But I wanted to share and do this part two because it's not just about building the Philippines home. It seems like it's everywhere. We've talked to quite a few people, and they're all having issues with things not working in their homes. So getting back to Kelly, he was in the construction field for many, many years in the U.S., and he explained to me about the substation, and he recommended that I go down there and talk to them. And he said that the fact that we own our transformer, that they have adjustments to them. Now, I don't know that, right? I'm not an expert. He says you can adjust them up, you can adjust them down. So all you have to do is contact them, and they'll send up a maintenance crew. And he said it's very quick, like 15 minutes, and they can make an adjustment in that transformer to allow more voltage into the home, normalize it, and we're good to go. So that's exactly what I did. Went down to the local substation, talked to them. They gave us a phone number. They said we needed to report the low voltage properly, which we did today. We reported it, and they said they're going to send a crew up as soon as possible. So, of course, when they said as soon as possible, we asked the question, well, what does that mean? Does that mean 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 30 days? And they said more than likely it would be today. Now, I've also been told that I'm barking up the wrong tree, that electric company will never show up, they'll never do anything. Doesn't sound like that's going to be the case, but the fact that I'm doing this video, I guess we'll learn together. Try to do a little more live TV. It's a little more interesting. That all we need to do until they get that substation in order. Remember, the electric company here sent out a memo saying that they're having issues. Now, they didn't talk about that they moved lines from substation to substation. They didn't get into any specifics. They just said that there was issues with the other substations, and it would take up to 2 months to get it fixed. So in the meantime, for that 2 months, if we can do an adjustment in our transformer, and maybe you guys don't know about that because I certainly did not. So again, thank you, Kelly, for that information. So they'll come out, hopefully they'll make an adjustment. We'll be able to test because I have the tester here. I'll be able to see if it improves. So what I plan on doing is before they touch anything, I'll switch back to the grid, test what the voltage is coming in, and I'll take a photo and show you. And I'm sure it's going to be, it's daytime. It's probably going to be running 200, 205, something like that. And then I'll take a picture of that, and then I'll let them go to town, make the adjustment, and then hopefully they can dial it in right around 220. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfectly pegged at 220, but definitely I was told a little higher is better than lower, but not too high. I think I also mentioned from the research that I did that you want to be around 220 to 240, no higher than 240, with our solar system here running at 230, 231. So we're in that range. So hopefully they'll be able to do that for us. And then what also is important for you guys to know is once that new subdivision is back online and we're hooked back up to the permanent feed, we probably will have not low voltage, but high voltage. So I have to keep an eye on that. So what I did was I purchased a second voltage reader, and I'll show you what that looks like now. So I ordered that on Shopee, and it was pretty cheap, I think, with shipping and everything, $6, $7. Not very expensive at all. So now I'll have two testers, the Panther one that you saw not too long ago, and this new one. So I guess it's good to have two different ones to see if they show a different reading. That'll be interesting to know. But I'm going to have to keep an eye on it because once this is over with, which is they're giving themselves all the way to the first of the year to fix it, I'm probably going to have to call them and have them come up and they do that tap adjustment down to put it back the way it is right now, so we could be right around 220. So again, I wanted to share this information because that's something that you may need to do yourself. Now, if you have your own transformer, it sounds like it's going to be easier. If you don't have your own transformer and you share it, I really don't know if they would come out and make that tap adjustment up to give you more voltage. So, you know, that's something you have to find out on your own. So what you can do is wherever you are in the Philippines and you have one of those testers and you're not running at 220 volts, you can call your electric company's hotline, like Wilma and I did today, report it, and hopefully they will come out with a maintenance crew and do the necessary adjustments. Again, not sure if they can do anything if you're on a shared transformer or not, but I was told that they definitely can make an adjustment to our transformer because it's singular. It's just for us. So again, some information. But you know what's the most important thing with solar and dealing with high voltage? Is if you have a lot of sun, it's not an issue as long as you are making more electricity and banking it, getting your battery storage at 100%. So let's go outside and see what the weather looks like. So dealing with low voltage is not an issue if you have enough solar to run your house and you have enough sun. So that's the key. So if we had a storm, for example, and did not have enough sunlight to get our battery at 100%, then we would have to use our generator like I showed you 2 or 3 videos ago, that we have the backup to the backup. So people say, you know, why do you have a generator? For that very reason, because look what's happened. We have solar, which is our primary. Then we have tied to the grid with our own transformer. Let me zoom in on the transformer. Right there, the top transformer. Center of the screen is ours. The one below is our neighbor's. You can see the one below is a little large. Ours is 25 kVA, and the one below is 37,500 or 37.5 kVA. So that is our backup to solar. And then we have our generator that's backup to the grid. So if we had a series of cloudy days and the solar could not get our battery to 100%, then we would use the grid to top off our battery. But if the grid is low voltage, it will not allow. And that's an update where, remember I told you the pool pump would not work with the low voltage. So if I turn our solar off right now, the pump would go for about 15 minutes, recognize the low voltage and shut off. So that's a problem. So what I could do is shut off the grid. And if our solar wasn't working, turn on our generator. And our generator would indeed run the pool pump as well as the rest of the house without an issue. So again, having the low voltage is really not an issue, guys, if you have sun. But having redundant systems, meaning solar is number 1, grid is number 2, generator number 3, I think is wise. Does it cost a little extra money to have all 3? Yes, it does. But having this low voltage is an issue. Like I said in the previous clip, we're talking to more and more people that are having issues at their homes with various electronics. Some have been damaged and some just simply doesn't work. So this is a big deal. So we're going to call this a little bit of live TV. We are waiting on Noriko to show up this afternoon. We called the hotline today, and a lot of the comments said that if you call the electric company, they will not do anything for you. I guess we're going to test that theory. So we called them, we reported what the issue is, we told them what the fix was, the fact that we need to do a tap adjustment on our transformer to up the voltage. So hopefully they come up today, and we'll see. Like I said, we just called them about a half hour ago, and then I started this video. And we're going to see how timely the local electric company is, and indeed see if they actually make an adjustment to the transformer, and then test it and see if we go from around 200 volts, which is 20 volts low, because we should be running at 220, and see if making that adjustment gets us up to 220, and then we'll be good to go. And then once the substation is back in order, and we have our permanent substation, then I'm going to have to contact them, have them come back out and do another adjustment down. So having that device that I showed you earlier is going to go a long way to make sure that we're keeping an eye on the voltage. But again, it really doesn't matter as long as you have that out in full force every day. Okay, so Noriko just arrived. We are on solar, 100%, and you can see our voltage is 231. And again, that never changes, so that means our solar system is very consistent. So 231 is where we're at right now. I'm getting ready to switch off of solar, and we'll see what the voltage is there. All right, so the guys from Noriko, they're here on site. So this is actually the next day. So we had to call them to have them come up. They weren't able to make it yesterday. We do a zoom. So you can see the fiberglass pole that they have. What that's gonna do is right there in the middle of the screen. See how they just pulled the fuse? That's the fuse, our specific fuse for our transformer. So every transformer, the one on top, the tall one there, in the middle of the screen, that's our transformer, 25 kVA. Our neighbors is below, they're 37.5 kVA. So they just took the fuse and disengaged it from the transformer, so now there's no power going there. So I was just talking to the supervisor. Let me take the zoom out. And the supervisor said the same thing that basically our neighbor Kelly said, where they're upgrading the substation. Right now it's 4 gigawatt, and they're upgrading it to 10 gigawatt to be able to handle the increase in electricity, all these houses going up here and down. So they're doing a lot of maintenance, and that is why we have low voltage. So it is true that if you own your own transformer, they can make an adjustment, and that's what they're going to do. They said they're going to make an adjustment. Then we'll test it and make sure that we're running at 220 volt. And this is the supervisor right here. And they're going to take care of us. So hopefully we'll no longer have low voltage. So talking to our neighbor, the one right below here, today, he said that he dropped off his laundry to be done, and they said, sir, we can't do your laundry in Darwin because there's low voltage. So this is a widespread issue until they get that substation upgraded from 4 gigawatt to 10. But I'm very impressed with Noriko. Every time we've needed them, they've come through for us. We're very pleased about that. So we'll watch him make the tap adjustment to increase our voltage, and we'll go from there. The guys from Noriko, they work so fast, I didn't get a chance to finish my video. They were here 3 minutes. It was very, very quick. So one thing I always do is take care of them financially, so they know us. So when we need them, they come up. That always helps, and they were very appreciative. So all they did was disengage, make sure that it was not electrified. They made the adjustment. Now they showed me how it needs to be adjusted, and I'll use my hand. Click, click. There was 2 clicks up. It's a black dial. So if I had a ladder, I could do it myself. So very, very simple. 2 adjustments up, 2 adjustments down. It comes from, I guess, the factory preset in the middle. So there's 5 adjustments. So it was on number 3. So you can adjust it 2 down. You can go back to center, 2 up. That's the tap adjustment. They said at the meter, they showed me how to check right at the pole. 192 was what it was reading. They did 2 clicks, which put it from setting 3 to setting 5, and you only have 5 settings, so we're right to the top. And you'll see in a minute where we're at. So very pleased. So to wrap this up, number 1, Noriko came through for us again. Very pleased. I know there's a lot of conversations out there that they're not helpful, but that has not been our experience. They've come through for us many times. So we're very pleased. Does not have low voltage. They said it's going to take them a while to get the substation in Darwin from a 4 gigawatt substation to a 10. They said it's going to take some time. So we are now being fed from Dumageddon. And that's exactly what Kelly said. So it's always smart to surround yourself with good people. So the fact that our line is not coming from 5 miles away up to our transformer, it's coming from 15 miles away, because Dumageddon from that substation, I'm going to guess, is another 10 miles. So the fact that our electricity is coming from that far distance, obviously there's going to be a voltage drop. But thankfully, when you have your own transformer, and there's another reason why to have your own transformer, you can simply make a tap adjustment, TAP adjustment. And it's literally just a black dial where they just went up there and went 4, 5. Very, very simple. So now it's all even, and we're pleased with that. So as long as we have sun, there is no issue, but it's nice to know now that our voltage is back to normal. Okay, so you can see that this breaker is on. It's to the left, which means we are using the hybrid inverter. We're hooked to the grid. Remember, we've been running like 195 to like 208. They made the tap adjustment right at 230. So it looks like it fixed it. Where we've been running 230, 231 with solar. And now we're running 230, 231 back on the grid. So everything has equalized and we're back to normal.